Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the McFarlane DC Multiverse Knightfall Catwoman. Not only that, this is the Platinum Chase variation with the gray paint job. Now, I was trying to figure out what the gray suit is trying to represent. Maybe it's an homage to Year One, maybe to Batman animated series, maybe to whatever you want it to be. Maybe it's just a random gray suit. Either way, I think it looks awesome. I got this figure from Big Bad Toy Store. They usually separate their platinum figures and give collectors like me a chance to get them. But boy, that thing sold out quick. Big shout out to my boy Carl for bringing it to my attention before it's too late. So let's go ahead and check out the packaging. As you can see at the top, 22 moving parts, McFarlane Toys, ages 12 plus, DC Multiverse Catwoman. This is the McFarlane Platinum Edition. I love what they're doing with the Platinum figures nowadays. They used to give us the unpainted artist-proof figures, but these paint variations are way better. Here she is in the package. She has a giant whip, 2 alternate hands, totaling 4 interchangeable hands, collector's card, and display stand. One side of the package, Catwoman from Batman Knightfall. Other side, Catwoman. The bottom, got a bunch of credits, and there's her barcode, but it looks like Big Bad Toy Store put something on top of their barcode. And either way, the barcode she has is exactly the same as the purple version. On the back side, here's Catwoman in the purple suit from Knightfall. So with no further ado, let's open her up. And as always, I did get 2 of these figures, one of which to open and enjoy, and one to keep unopened in my complete, unopened Batman-related action figure collection. And here's the gray paint variant next to the original purple paint variation. Both these figures are awesome. I probably like the purple variation a little bit better, as that is my version of Catwoman from the 90s, but this new one is really cool too. Alright, now that this figure out of the package, here she is with all of her accessories laid out. She comes with a display stand, a collector's card, 2 alternate hands, totally 4 interchangeable hands, and then this extremely long whip, arguably the best Catwoman whip I've ever seen. But before we take a look at those, let's talk about and check out the actual figure. So this is Catwoman. The original purple version is specifically from Knightfall. Basically it's Catwoman's suit from the 90s. But this is a gray variation. I love what McFarlane's doing with the Platinum Chase variants. For a while they were doing these unpainted artist-proof figures, and frankly they sucked. Now they're at least giving us paint variations that are desirable. Now, we just have to find them. This figure was really hard to track down. There was a guy that got it from Amazon in Canada. I messaged him, tried to buy his. He didn't want to sell it. And you know what? I totally get that. But they were unable to find these things. I've seen 0 sightings at retail of one of these randomly being found. In fact, I've not seen the Mr. Freeze at retail either. At least no sightings reported online. Only the J. Garrett Flash. McFarlane Toy Store had Mr. Freeze, but they never put Catwoman up. I actually emailed them, and they said their shipment of Platinum Catwoman figures got sent to another retailer in accident. Maybe it was Big Bad Toy Store. That's where I got mine. But they sold out really quick. Now, having a gray variant like this makes me think of Batman the Animated Series, and I assume that's what they're going for, but it also could be an homage to Year One. And then there's this comic I remember called Batman Catwoman Trail of the Gun, where she had a gray suit. So a few possibilities. So let's take a look at her. Starting with her head here, she's got black on the front, gray on the rest, cat ears up top. Her hair, it's black, has a little hint of blue to it. It looks pretty good. It can kind of get over her shoulders, so it's not going to totally hinder her articulation. She's got the gray spandex catsuit. A little bit of a pouch down here. Now, I've seen an argument online, and my god, I can't believe we're actually talking about this, that it looks like she has a penis in there. Nice little bulge. I've seen other people saying, oh, it just has a lot of pubic hair there. There's actually a word for that. I don't remember what it was. I actually saw pages of people arguing with this on the Foosh forums, and I'm not going to lie, it was hilarious. Yeah, it looks a little rough. They could do a better job with this. In person, I'd say it's a little bit better than on screen, but not by much. Definitely should flatten that thing out, my word. I'll tell you, it actually looks very seamless between the diaper and the chest area or stomach area. A lot of times there's a big gap there. Looks really nice on this Catwoman figure. Double jointed elbows, double jointed knees, high heels. She can be a little bit difficult to stand, but it's really not that bad. The backside, nothing wrong there. As a whole, decent figure. Yes, this is a little annoying. Well, maybe little's not the right word. Anyway. And just a closer look at her face and head sculpt. Head and face sculpt look pretty good. And a closer look at her crotch area. What do you guys think? How bad does that look to you guys? Has anyone out there tried to actually fix this? If so, what were the results? And can anyone tell me what the word is for one with a giant bush making a little puff down there? I can't seem to recall. And I know it is absolutely ridiculous that we're even talking about this in an action figure video. But there it is. And here's the figure broken down as far as you can go, with all of her removable parts detached. Now let's check out her accessories, and let's start off with the boring stuff. Here's her display stand. Typical McFarlane display stand. Black perfect circle. It says DC on the bottom, and it's got one peg for the peg holes on her feet. Very thin, very basic. Now let's look at her collector's card. As you can see, it's an image of Catwoman from the 90s in her purple costume. She's got sharp nails on her gloves. Catwoman from Batman Knightfall. On the back side, there is a description. If you want to read that, go ahead and pause now. Here's the Platinum Chase variant collector's card on the left. Nicely standard version on the right. They are 100% identical, and that's about the only thing they are doing worse with the new Platinum figures. They used to differentiate the Platinum variant collector's card with her head, silver border, or it's all black and white. I don't like the fact that they're identical. Now let's look at her hands. She has a total of 4 of them, 2 left hands and 2 right hands. Here's her first pair of hands. These have her fingers fully extended with their sharp claws ready to scratch something. And here's her other pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands for her whip. Now let's look at her whip. The whip is very impressive. About the longest Catwoman whip I've ever seen, and probably the most detailed. It's got a little piece at the end here, the handle, nice sculpted detail, and the whip itself, you can see it's sort of intertwined like rope. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. Thing is enormous, fantastic. I went ahead and measured this whip. It is 20.5 inches long. Fantastic. Here's Catwoman holding that whip. And here she is with the whip wrapped all around her body. And I was curious if there are any differences between the two Catwoman figures, besides simply the paint job, and there are not. It's 100% the same sculpt, just gray instead of purple. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and her accessories, now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, she's standing at about 6.75 inches tall, which can translate to about 17 centimeters. Now let's check out her articulation. Starting with her head here, of course, it can rotate from side to side. They did a pretty good job of not making the hair obstruct the articulation. She looks up, not much at all, but can look straight, and down quite a bit. Can tilt her head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint, goes about 90 degrees. Up, down, around, all that good stuff. She's got a butterfly joint between her shoulder and chest area. Increase the range of motion, although mine is very hard to budge, and cover the large gap that would be there. She has no bicep cut, which is kind of surprising. Double jointed elbows, they go all the way in. Her wrists can rotate, and it's going to be hinged as well. Ball joint her torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one on her waist, rotate around, forward and back, giving her pretty good range of motion in her torso area. Legs, complete does the splits, not a ball joint, similar type concept. Rotation's non-existent. The legs go forward about that much, back not at all. Double jointed knees below that. Then her ankle here, forward and back, rotate, tilt, rock, and she has toe articulation. Correction, she does have a bicep cut. Mine was just a little bit stuck. Here's Catwoman laying down on a Gotham City rooftop. Here's an image of Catwoman kissing Batman on the rooftop. And then here's Catwoman surrounded by a bunch of cats, taking a couple of duffel bags full of money out of this vault. Cat thief indeed. Here's an image of both Catwoman figures coming out of the vault. Money everywhere. Cats everywhere. The epitome of Catwoman. Now let's check her out. Next to some of their action figures. Starting off with some other Catwoman figures. Here she is, next to the standard purple version of the Knightfall Catwoman. And here she is, next to McFarlane's Arkham City Catwoman. Then, next to McFarlane's The Batman Catwoman. Here are all the McFarlane DC Multiverse Catwoman figures. They made a ton of different variations, and a custom. And McFarlane did make a couple more, in their 1966 line. And here she is, next to all of my DC Direct and DC Collectibles Catwoman figures. And there's a couple of those I'm missing. Then, next to the Soap Studios Catwoman. And here she is, next to a DST or Diamond Select Toys Cat from Gotham. Here's this Catwoman, next to a couple of Mezco 112 Collective Catwoman figures. And here she is, next to a Yamato Catwoman. Then, with all of my Mattel Catwoman figures. And now, with the Mafex Catwoman figures. Here's Catwoman, next to an SH Figure Arts Catwoman. Then, with a Hot Toys 112 scale Catwoman. And now, next to some older Kenner Catwoman figures. Here are absolutely all of my Catwoman action figures. Quite a few. Here she is, next to a Danger Girl figure I used for Selena Kyle. She looks kind of like Catwoman in the costume with the mask off. Now let's check her out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here are all the different McFarlane Catwoman figures. And here are all the McFarlane figures, specifically labeled Knightfall, Catwoman, and Azrael. There's the upcoming Knightfall Batman that looks absolutely amazing, and I would buy the shit out of anything they made from Knightfall. Now let's check her out, next to some other McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants. Here are the newest Platinum Chase variants. Mr. Freeze, Catwoman, and Jay Garrick the Flash. These are all paint variants that are desirable and cool figures, unlike the previous Platinum figures they made. Before that, they were making the Platinum Chase variants, these unpainted artist-proof figures. And could be kind of cool if you want to repaint them. For the majority of collectors, these are dumb, pointless, and useless. I'm a completist, so I tracked them all down. But they didn't really bring me any actual joy. A lot of people complained, because if you ordered, I don't know, regular Swamp Thing or Hush, and you got one of these instead, you're probably going to be disappointed. So McFarlane decided to change the way they do their new Platinum figures, and the new repaints are actually pretty awesome. Before that, they made a Goggles Up Platinum Chase variant, Ben Affleck Batman from Zack Snyder's Justice League. And before that, they made a Silver Armor Gorilla Grodd from Injustice 2. I was actually able to get 3 of these. I use these as some Gorilla Soldiers in Grodd's Gorilla Army. Before that, some of the earliest Platinum Chase figures they made was a gold version of the Arkham Knight Batman and the Arkham Origins Deathstroke. But the very first Platinum Chase variants in the McFarlane DC Multiverse line were the bronze versions of the Arkham Asylum Batman and Joker. Here are absolutely all of the McFarlane DC Multiverse Platinum Chase variants they've made. I can't wait to see what's next. Now let's check her out, next to some other recently released McFarlane DC Multiverse figures. Here she is, next to Wonder Woman from Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Then, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label Beast Boy, still trying to track down the Vampire Joker. Then, next to the Arkham City Riddler and the Arkham Knight Earth 2 Batman skin. Here's Catwoman, next to the 4th wave of Page Punchers. This is an Aquaman themed wave. Aquaman, Aqualad, Ocean Master, and Black Manta. And here she is, next to the 2 most recent Mega figures, Calabac and Fulcrum Abominus. Then, next to McFarlane Toy Store exclusive, Kyle Rayner Blue Lantern. And now, next to the Dark Knight Trilogy wave, Collective Build Bane from the Dark Knight Rises. Here's Catwoman, next to the Dark Knight's Metal Gladiator Batman and the Kingdom Come Armored Batman. And here she is, next to the Con-El Superboy, Duke Thomas the Signal, and both versions of the Jake Garrick Flash. And now, next to the most recent Batman wave, we have Hush Batman, both versions of Catwoman, both versions of Mr. Freeze, and the Infinite Frontier Joker. Here's Catwoman, next to the Walmart exclusive gold label Vampire Batman and Eradicator. And here she is, next to the Target exclusive gold label Flashpoint Aquaman and Deadman. Then, next to the Shazam 2 movie Shazam and the Amazon exclusive Tim Drake Robin. And finally, next to the Amazon exclusive Batman Family 5-pack. Now let's check her out, next to some action figures from different various companies, to see how she fits in both scale and style-wise, in case you know which lines you can mix her with. Since she's a McFarlane figure, they're typically the 7-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the larger action figure lines I collect, and work way smaller. But first, let's check her out with some of her McFarlane Toys brothers and sisters. In front of you are 5 different action figure lines, all from McFarlane Toys, all 7-inch scale. Then, next to some more McFarlane Toys, these are from different various video game properties. And now, next to some Jack-specific wrestling figures. Here she is, next to a big chunk of cat hair on my left in the corner a couple hours ago. And here she is, next to some DST or Diamond Select toys. Then, next to some DC Direct and DC Collectibles figures. And here she is, standing with some NECA figures. Then, with some Mattel wrestling figures. And now, next to some Jazzwares AEW wrestlers. And here she is, next to some Mezco 112 collected figures. Then, next to some Mattel DC Universe Classics and Multiverse figures. And here, next to some Mayfix figures. Then, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends. And here she is, next to some SH Figure Arts action figures. And finally, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Overall, it's a pretty cool Catwoman figure. I love what they're doing with the Platinum Chase variants now, making them actually figures worth getting. Only problem is, they're really hard to get. I'm pretty aggressive when it comes to trying to find these things, so I was really happy when I was able to acquire one through Big Bad Toy Store, because boy, those things sold out quick. Sculpt and paint job are excellent. Yeah, little issue with the sort of crotch type area, but it doesn't bother me as much as I thought it would. And honestly, it looks a little bit worse on camera than it does in person. Her accessory, the whip, the hands, the whip is fantastic. It's the best Catwoman whip I have. Her articulation is everything you'd expect from a modern McFarlane DC Multiverse figure. If I had to rate this figure, I'm going to give her a 7 out of 10. Personally, I prefer the purple suit because that is my version of Catwoman from the 90s when I was into comics. Of course, I'm into comics again as an adult, but that's a whole other story. This gray suit could be one of three things. It could be an homage to Batman the Animated Series, except she doesn't have blonde hair on the figure. It could be an homage to Batman Year One. And there's this comic called Batman Catwoman Trail of the Gun. Her suit looks almost exactly like this one. So it definitely has a nice place in my comic collection. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.